Restrictions on Ownership, Chapter 2. In this chapter, we will review easements and encroachments. During our easement discussion, we will classify easements and discuss how they are created and terminated. Our encroachment discussion will involve defining the term as well as offering examples. Easements. An owner of an easement is entitled to use the land of another for a particular purpose. An easement may include the intuitive right to enter the land of another, but also may include the right to use the airspace above a piece of land. An easement is considered an encumbrance as it represents an interest in the real property. The purpose of an easement is usually to provide access to a property for a particular purpose. Perhaps the only way to access one parcel is through another. Perhaps the utility company needs to run lines through a property. There are many reasons why one would need to access the property of another. Appurtenant easement. An appurtenant easement becomes part of the ownership rights of a particular piece of property. An appurtenant easement gives the owner of one parcel of ground the right to some sort of use of an adjacent parcel of ground. Two pieces of ground affected by an appurtenant easement must be owned by separate parties. If the parcels are owned by the same party, an easement is not really necessary. It does not make sense for a property owner to require permission from themselves to access a piece of property. The property which benefits from the easement is referred to as the dominant tenement. The property owner who allows the dominant tenement to use their land is referred to as the servient tenement. As we mentioned previously, the easement is considered part of the ownership rights of the dominant tenement property. Therefore, the easement is said to run with the land. If and when title is transferred to the dominant tenement, the easement is included in the rights transferred to the new owner. If and when ownership is transferred for the servient tenement, the easement will also be transferred. The new owner will be subject to the easement in the same manner as the previous owner. Easement in gross. While an appurtenant easement involves the rights of an adjacent property owner, an easement in gross grants an interest in or right to use the parcel of land to someone other than an adjacent property owner. Utility companies, such as power companies, typically obtain the right to install power lines on property through easements in gross. The power company is not a property owner, but still has the rights to access and use the property of another under certain circumstances. A utility easement usually gives the utility company the right to install equipment and facilities on the property of another, along with entering the property as necessary for maintenance and repair of the facilities installed. Utility easements are common in virtually every residential subdivision. If the easement in gross is considered a commercial easement, the easement may be transferred or sold. If the easement in gross is considered a personal easement, it will typically terminate upon the death of the owner of the easement. Creating easements. Perhaps the easiest way to create an easement is through a written agreement between the two parties involved. For example, with an appurtenant easement, the two landowners could execute an agreement granting the easement to the dominant landowner. Easements may be created under less friendly circumstances. Besides both parties freely negotiating the terms of an easement, we will discuss several methods of creating or reasons to create an easement, including the following: party wall easement, easement by necessity, easement by prescription, easement by condemnation. Party wall easement. A party wall easement is necessary whenever two property owners share a wall or another structure. The easiest way to illustrate this is in the case of a twin home. A twin home is a structure with two dwellings attached along one wall. Unlike a condominium or townhouse, the owners of each dwelling own the lot upon which their side of the building is built. Think of a twin home as two traditional homes on traditional lots and are built sharing one wall. The owners must execute a party wall agreement which grants an easement for each side to use the wall. The party wall agreement also outlines how the wall will be maintained and how the expenses associated with the common wall will be split. Other situations require a party wall agreement. If a building is built exactly on the property line, a party wall easement will be necessary.